Vasu said, he's got media potential, right? So we got the yes from HR, and then we said, oh, I don't suppose you want to be in a video, right? So that's just generally quite an easy tactic to get HR on the side. But Vasu's very good on camera. So what happened is we launched World's Coolest Intern, and it launched in Singapore. And actually, this is the glorified view of things, and actually it did turn out to spread quite extensively. We went to 60 cities globally in 21 countries. In 30 days, but I'll tell you, the first 3 or 4 or 5 days, it wasn't like that. We were thinking, refresh, and you know, they thought this is going to become a Singapore thing, right? Which is great, so get the intern, you know. But there were a number of things we did along the way, and actually we had to actually just start thinking on our feet. It wasn't like traditional, even I'd say a traditional digital campaign. We have everything thought through and it just works like you wanted it to. It doesn't, right? So, but what it did was it gave us some phenomenal outreach. And to give you a sense of this, we reached out to people across the world, and I wanted to share with you some of the stories of the people that we reached out to. And what they did is they did some amazing things, right? So. Now I'm going to really test the capabilities. Can you click on that one there? Thanks. So, no, it's not going to work. Right. Anyway, I'll tell you the story of 3 people. There was Dwayne. Dwayne was based in London, and what he did was he reached out when he heard about the World's Coolest Intern. A guy in London picked it up, and he started actually reaching out to colleagues, friends of his across Australia, all the way from the Caribbean to Australia. And what he did was he started collecting photos of people actually with their vote for Dwayne pictures on there. And this just again it started getting very pervasive. There was Jen. She was in Boston, and she pledged to run an ultra marathon. And you know, to saying, if I get to win this, I'll run an ultra marathon. She did run the ultra marathon, didn't she? And then there was Sarah in Singapore, just an example. You know, we've been trying to reach out to the guys at Mashable and sort of establish a relationship with them, and Sarah did it in a remarkable style. And she got an editor at Mashable to start supporting her. So instantly reaching out to around 1.6 million people. So. You know, a phenomenal group of people that came together in these 16 markets, with 60 cities, everywhere from Mexico through to Australia, where we got we found our special person. In terms of reach, what we managed to do is we started out with much more humbler goals. I got to say, we were really surprised. We reached over 1 million people across. We were able to touch over 1 million people. We were able to. I know people say, the page ranks don't matter, but it does sometimes for your stakeholders who don't get it, right? So to get the funding to do the next round of these things. But we did manage. We got 1 million and a bit Google hits. We were able to actually reach out. We started a Twitter account, and I completely agree with the sentiment. It's not about the number of followers, but it's about the reach that you achieve with this. And getting to over sort of 18,000 followers, nearly 40,000 Facebook re-mentions. It really became very pervasive, and people actually really picked up on it. So much so that when the traditional media that we couldn't afford earlier started talking about us. In fact, the team got featured on a Channel 5 in Singapore here. Actually did a little segment on the team. They came in and videoed the team. It was very exciting for all of us. We were on TV. Whatever you say, it does get the juices rolling. So, but it was really interesting because actually what we found ourselves having is that social media was helping us drive traditional media and a lot more. We got a Gartner person who started following us and started talking again. Doesn't matter to customers, but did matter to some of the internal stakeholders. But beyond the numbers, what it meant for us, and I think this is the thing we wanted to really share with you, is what we did is, at the same time, Standard Chartered was relaunching our brand promise, and we went out with a message around what we a strapline we called Here for Good. But what we wanted to do is humanize the brand, and I think we were able to do that by actually taking examples of people and putting them in front of the camera, taking the people who were part of the story, and I'll come back to that in a second on a slide on that. We were able to engage a community. We were able to even engage communities we didn't know existed, right? The Caribbean community coming out for us, really powerful. Not even in our market, you know. In terms of search, you know, more traditional metrics, in terms of search, our relevance just went through the roof in terms of SEO. And in terms of content, we created some video content, and we created this content organically. The script was written by our team, the video was shot by our team, voiceovers were done by our team, and so we put them in front of the story. So beyond the numbers, we were able to achieve something that we didn't really expect when we went into this exercise. We had some idea of it. I wanted to share with you sort of 5 lessons we learned from this. The first lesson we learned around this was about content. I think banks have to really start thinking like media companies. It's really about how we serve the content. We actually sit on more content than, I'll give you an example. Facebook takes 5 attributes about you and spins an entire relationship that gets you makes you wake up in the morning and log in and check out your Facebook profile. It builds a real relationship with you. As a bank, we actually know a lot more about you. Now, again, our premise is to make sure that and our reason for existence is also to make sure that we safeguard that information about you. But really understanding content, the content that consumers tell us, and the way they're talking to us, and to talk back to them, is a real challenge for us as an industry. So getting really good at content, using video, using social, we learned a lot of lessons around that. In fact, we ran, even during the iPhone launch, some things didn't work as well as we thought they would work. This video here, we ran a magic show, because one of the things we had in our application was the ability to send an electronic check. You could actually write a physical check in your iPhone, and it would be sent on behalf of you. So during the iPhone 4 launch here in Singapore, we actually had a magician around there doing this. It didn't work as well as we wanted. It was good. It didn't work as well as we wanted it to, but we learned a lot of things from it. So, the opportunity to actually learn from the content we were creating was really important. Partners. We had some incredible support. A company called Case, which helped us with putting together this material. There were a number of JMQ on the tabulation of the results. We didn't actually want to we wanted to have somebody else tabulate the results for us to sort of make sure that the contestants understood there was a degree of fairness around this whole process. It wasn't sort of like us just figuring this out. We got all these guys together, and we just sort of dropped a line to our friends at Google, and they said, hang on, social, financial, we'll jump on board as well. And actually, Google actually came on board and actually started giving AdWords away to these to contestants who were able to actually use them, and we'll give you an example of that. So what we were able to do is take a brand that we had, and I think one of the most powerful things that we've got going in social media is brand association. It's not just about your brand talking, but it's also about, can you actually have this conversation with other brands working with you in a sort of slightly more open way. In terms of the brief, we tried not to sort of constrain it. I think one of the things we observed is that very sort of tight scripted briefs tend to sort of stifle creativity. So we sort of said, you use the medium you want. You want to use video, you want to use social, you want to use whatever you want to use. Here's what it's going to take. Here's how we're going to judge you, but you do what you want to. And so that allowed people to give them the sort of creative license that I believe we need to actually sort of make it enable for people to really interact with us. We tried a little bit around innovation. I mean, one of the things we did is along the way is we think we're the first. I think we're the first. But we enable people to take their tweets and actually post them straight to Google AdWords or Google Ads, right? So we think it was the first. It was certainly, everybody got very excited about it, and just the energy that creates was really fantastic. So just not being afraid of actually trying out new things. But the most important lesson for us was about being genuine. And I think I'm really lucky because I've got a fantastic team of people who I work with, and actually they've got great personalities. And what we wanted to actually say is, here are the people who made that product. Here are the people who lovingly spent that extra hour to actually get that little bit of that feature right for you. And it's because they actually believe in that so fundamentally. So instead of actually having stock models that come in and do videos for you. So actually we got a bunch of beautiful people who are really awesome. Why don't we put them in front of the camera? And we did that, and we started off with Audwin, who's an intern, who came across to us an intern and actually now works with us and is doing really well. So this is a little video we put together for him, in which he was talking to other people about the stuff he was doing.